Okay, we're going to check out what the value is of a new listing that's coming on the market in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to start by narrowing it down to location, and then we're going to check out some things like months of inventory, what the list to sales price ratio looks like, what the average asking price is of this type of house and of the area in total, and what direction the market's been going in. Have the prices been going up month after month, year over year? And then we'll narrow down some comparables and do some adjustments so that we can come up with what we think is a fair market value for the house. So there's 99 available freeholds in Lakeview, Mississauga right now, where our new listing is coming up in. And I'm going to narrow down how many sales there's been in the last 30 days. And that's going to tell me how many months of inventory, which is going to tell me if we're in a buyer's market, a balanced market, or a seller's market. I'm just going 30 days back. I usually go back an extra day because we don't have the data from today's date. So I need 30 days ago from yesterday. And there's been 11 sales. So there's 99 freehold listings available, and there's 11 that have sold in the last 30 days. So if no new homes come to market, it's going to take 9 months to sell all 99 properties that are on the market right now. So anything less than 5 months is a seller's market, 5 to 7 months is a balanced market, and more than 7 months is a buyer's market. So technically, Lakeview is in a buyer's market right now. My estimate is around 1.2, but I'm going to look at anything under 1.5 because the first $500,000 for financing only requires 5% as a down payment, and the next $1 million only requires 10%. So you can have significantly less cash to buy $1.4 million, $999,000 house. You need about double to be able to buy a $1.501 million house. So a significant jump in ability to qualify. So 1.5, I'm going to use as my upper limit. Is that right? Yeah. In the last 30 days, 10 of the 11 sales have been under 1.5 million. And now we'll go back and see how many are available so we can check months of inventory. So of the 99 that are currently available, 48 of them are priced under 1.5 million. Our available listings divided by the 10 that sold, that's 4.8 months of inventory for homes in Lakeview, price 1.5 million, and anything under 5 months is technically a seller's market. So it's not a strong seller's market in this price point in this neighborhood. Okay, that brings us to list to sales price ratio at the sales in this price category. So we're going to go back to solds, and we can go further back in time. We don't need to limit it to the last 30 days, but we can check that out first because that's going to tell us what the list to sales price ratio is most recently. So for the 10 homes that sold in Lakeview under 1.5 million, the average sale price was $1,050,000. The average days on market was 43 days, and the list to sales price ratio ranged from 77% of the asking price to 103% of the asking price. So there's only 10 data points, so we can actually look at what the list price versus the sold price look like. So sold for under, this is the one that sold for 103% of the asking price. And then we could take a closer look when we're running pricing strategy if this house compares and might succeed from a similar strategy. This one sold significantly under that, must be the 77%, just under, 140 under. So most properties in the area are listing for more than they're worth and then selling for, in a lot of cases, pretty significantly less. So I'd want to price it right where it looks like the market's going to land. So now we're going to run our comparables and try to find 5 properties that are most similar. So I'm going to start with this list. I'll start geographically. Subject property is right here on Dormer. So they share backyards, but South Service Road, this across the street is one of Ontario's busiest arteries, and it would be less desirable than facing a mature community. So we'll take that into account when we're doing our adjustments, but otherwise we'll check out some of the key metrics. So 55 by 150 foot lot, which is the same. So it's going to be a similar house in a lot of ways. Checking out photos to see if it's also renovated. It is. We're going to do adjustments based on potentially kitchen finishes. Otherwise, it's a similar space. This one's more closed off than what we're looking at, so we'll see if that's going to affect value. Basement kitchen. Okay, so I'm taking note. Some of the differences, having been at the subject property, obviously helps a lot. I could probably do a 10% adjustment just from not being on the south service road, which would bring us to about 1.2. So let's see what else is selling. Start with lot size. It's a little bit smaller, 10% smaller. Okay, so this one's dated. We'd probably need 250,000 to get to the level of finishes and design and layout, renovation costs to get it to the same level as the subject property. So that would be our main adjustment on this property. A little bit on the lot, location, we call it a wash on that. Maybe a little bit. People really do like being in this part of Lakeview, north of QEW, south of the Queensway. Very family friendly pocket. Everybody seems to get along and nobody ever wants to leave. So there's always something to that. Okay, let's see what else. This is probably not a good comp because it's semi-detached and it's 2-story. So ours is 1.5 story, but it's sold for around kind of where my instinct is saying it's worth. So it's a narrower lot, but deeper. It's more square feet, maybe similar. We're 1.5 stories. We're probably maybe closer to 50 or 1600 actually. So that'll be a big adjustment if we even use this as a comp. There, it's bigger. It's not a good comparable. Not a good comparable. I don't think the same person who's looking for this house is going to be, I don't think it's the same market. See what sells for 655. 25 by 150, half the lot size. That's a little house on a driveway, I guess. Sort of. Probably one of the original cottages. People during the First World War were manufacturing arms down the street from this house. So it could have been somebody working there. Okay, we're going to go farther back in time. Back in time because we've only got the last 30 days. And we can get more data so that we could get better comps. That's the obvious next step. All right, let's go. Just go all year. Well, sometimes I just do it this way. I just go to where I think, and then I see what else is selling for under and just over kind of where I think it might land based on just general market knowledge. Down here, we're looking at lot size. It's narrower. This is 40. Ours is 55. Ours is 155 deep, so this is deeper. Definitely you adjust more value for a lot size at the front than at the back. You only get so much dollars per linear foot of depth after 155. People aren't going to pay the same for the last 30 feet that they'd pay for the next 150 feet. That last 30 feet is more valuable than the next 150. So overall, there might not be any adjustment there because we have more frontage. But let's check out the actual house. So this is a bungalow. Ours is 1.5 stories. Very charming home. It's not a great comparable, but it's good to know that somebody was willing to pay for that size, that price. That location is solid. We've run this a few times. North of the train track here is about an 8 to 9% increase than south of the train track. So it's literally on the right side of the tracks. Let's see what else sold on the right side of the tracks. 4th Street, this street, the houses on the north side face the houses on the south side, which back onto the tracks. So it's good to see that by 130 to 130-ish, a little bit smaller, about 10% smaller than the subject property. When I see these photos, I also think of the rule, 1, maybe 2 items on a surface, max. That's the rule of thumb for staging. The house looks amazing. The reason for that rule, though, my understanding is that people want to feel like they're not in someone else's house. They want it to feel like a showroom, it turns out. Okay, this is nicely done. And it's great to see that it sold for 1.262 earlier this year. Okay. Backsplit, not the best. I'm going to narrow it down to 2 bedrooms and see how we compare to those. Funny 90 Cortland, 1.29. Beautiful backyard. Deck, pool, in-ground, concrete, surrounded by wood decking. Pretty good. Tastefully renovated. Okay, so yeah, that is a good comp. It's on the right side of the Queensway. People love Applewood Acres. And similar lot size, wider and shallower. Okay, so we'd have to do some adjustments. It's a 1.5 story versus a bungalow. Size could be a wash. They got 10 feet wider. We've got 20 feet deeper. Probably a wash on that. Private double, same near the pool. We're helping somebody buy a house potentially this coming week, and they are going to bury the pool. So I don't know. It used to be quite popular during COVID especially, but it's kind of been tapering off again, I guess. But I don't know. The right buyer would, pay for not having to do that themselves. Okay, so from here, I'm going to use our best comps. Oh, over here, we check out Detta. This is in a kind of weird little pocket of Lakeview, east of Dixie. So Dixie's a significant 4-lane, I believe, here. And Lakeshore, which is the same. And it's kind of sandwiched between the Toronto Golf Club and the Orchard Hill Park and apartment buildings. So kind of a weird pocket, but Let's see, this one's really nicely renovated. Sold for 123% of asking price, listed at $979, sold for 1.202. A detached bungalow. Let's check out some photos. Yeah, this is how you stage. This is looking very showroom-like. Even the photography, well done. Bravo. Very tasteful. This is ahead of its time for the location. It is nice to see that that little pocket is getting this kind of attention. If this keeps up, that could improve the pocket. That could become a cool little zone of the very corner. It is the last corner, the most southern eastern edge of Mississauga. The next housing from there is Etobicoke. Okay, now I'm going to upload all of these into ChatGPT, give it some prompts, decide on what a fair market value would be and why, and then we are going to execute the marketing plan, which includes 4 of the most important things, which are the pricing strategy, how it shows. So we're going to start coordinating the media, ordering the photographers, the videographers, start creating all the websites and the e-flyers and all of the digital assets, so that once the media is done, we upload it into the digital assets and we can start distributing it once we're live on MLS. And stay tuned for how that's going to all unfold.